What if everything you thought was failure was actually proof you were chosen, not just picked, not just different, but anointed to carry something this world couldn't explain and maybe couldn't tolerate? What if your financial struggles, your confusion, your inability to get ahead weren't a mistake, but a hidden initiation? Think about it. You've done the work. You've tried to be disciplined. You've even prayed, manifested, visualized. But somehow, the money never stays. The opportunities slip away. And people who don't care at all about truth, they seem to rise while you stay stuck. It doesn't make sense. Unless everything you were taught about success was a trap, a lie designed to keep chosen ones like you chasing illusions instead of embodying power. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. The reason your life hasn't worked like theirs is because you're not here to live like them. You're not broken. You're not failing. You're being refined. See, while others measure their worth by numbers and trophies, you've been called to wake up from the game altogether. And yes, sometimes that awakening looks like struggle, but it's not punishment, it's preparation. You're not behind. You're in initiation, and everything they told you was failure was actually the proof that you've been chosen for more. And if that's true, if your money problems are a clue, not a curse, then we need to rewire everything we've been told about abundance. Let's begin. Part 1. Why chosen ones struggle with money. Have you ever looked around and thought, why does everyone else seem to get it, but I'm still struggling to survive? You've probably been told the same things your whole life. Work hard, stay consistent, save, grind. That's how you succeed. That's how you earn. But for some reason, those rules never seem to work for you. You follow their script, do the steps, follow the plan, yet your account still bleeds out silently. You try the jobs, the hustle, the business plans, but they feel hollow, disconnected, wrong. Here's why. You're not broken. You were designed to transcend the system, not survive in it, because you're wired to feel energy deeply. And money is no exception. Let's make that clear. Money isn't just paper, numbers, or a paycheck. It's the materialized current of value, trust, and direction. And if you're a chosen one, someone spiritually tuned, empathic, and deeply aware, you don't relate to energy like everyone else. Where others chase, you pause. Where others grab, you feel. Where others manipulate, you seek alignment. It's not because you're lazy, it's because deep down, your soul refuses to play a game. You were never meant to win. And here's where it gets even deeper. You've been dropped into a world that runs on reward loops. Systems designed to make people feel good when they obey. Money becomes the treat, success the drug, fame the high. But what if your soul doesn't respond to those rewards? Chosen ones often feel misplaced in this world because their inner compass doesn't point toward status. It points toward truth. It points toward alignment. It points toward something that can't be bought, only remembered. And so, while others climb ladders made of metrics, you find yourself asking deeper questions. Why am I here? What am I really meant to build? Why does chasing money feel like betrayal? That's not weakness, that's sacred resistance. But let's not romanticize the struggle either, because when you're out of alignment with the world's systems, there are consequences. Bills won't wait for your awakening, but your soul will never stop calling. Your rent doesn't pause for your spiritual awakening. And even though your soul is tuned to a different signal, you still live in a material world. So yes, this disconnect hurts. It feels like failure. It feels like you're doing something wrong, but you're not. You're not failing. You're operating on a different frequency. Think of it like this. Most people are tuned to AM radio, chasing noise, hustle, the next thing. But you're tuned to FM, intuitive, deeper, quieter. The problem is, money often flows through the AM system, so unless you learn how to bridge both worlds, you'll keep feeling like an outsider. And that's exactly what this phase of your life is teaching you. Because here's the secret no one tells you. Your financial struggle isn't a punishment. It's an initiation. It's the universe reprogramming you, teaching you how to relate to wealth differently. You're not being blocked from abundance. You're being recalibrated for it. That discomfort, it's not failure. It's the system uninstalling old code. The frustration, that's the old programming falling apart. The lack, that's the space being made for something far more aligned. You're not supposed to succeed by being like everyone else. You're supposed to redefine what success even means. And that means going through a kind of death. A death of old beliefs. A death of old attachments. A death of false identities tied to how much you earn or what title you hold. This is why it feels like nothing works, because everything that used to work was never meant for you. You're not here to chase. You're here to create. From alignment, from truth, from soul. So if you've been wondering why the money isn't showing up, look deeper. Ask yourself, where have I been trying to follow rules that aren't mine? Where have I sacrificed soul for strategy? Where have I mistaken stillness for failure? Because chances are, you're not off path. You're exactly where you're meant to be. You're just in a process most people never even realize exists. A spiritual unraveling, an energetic recalibration, a sacred rewiring of your entire relationship with value, purpose, and power. And that's why you're here, not to chase paper, but to reclaim your power as a co-creator of reality. But struggling doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're being trained. So what exactly is this training, and who designed it? Let's go deeper. Part 2. The Spiritual Bootcamp. You didn't sign up for. If you've been feeling like life keeps throwing tests at you, like every time you get back up, something else knocks you down. You're not crazy. You're not cursed. You're in training. Welcome to Spiritual Bootcamp. No, you didn't sign up, not consciously, but on a soul level, you did. Because before you arrived here, into this body, this life, you agreed to something most people never would. You agreed to wake up, and waking up isn't a vacation. It's not warm baths and positive affirmations. It's a dismantling, a purification, a stripping away of every illusion you ever absorbed about who you are and what you're worth. And nowhere is that more raw, more brutal, more relentless than with money. You see, money is the perfect training ground because it triggers everything: your survival instincts, your ancestral trauma, your self-worth, your relationship with control. In this boot camp, your bank account is the gym, and the weight you lift, every unpaid bill, every declined card, every opportunity you had to say yes to but couldn't afford. Each of these moments is a spiritual representative. It breaks you down, so you can rebuild on a foundation that's unshakable. But most people don't see it this way. They fail the test before they even realize they're in one. They react with fear. They lash out at others. They blame themselves. They internalize the struggle as proof of unworthiness. And that's understandable, because no one tells you that this is training. No one tells you that your challenges are curriculum, that every time life tightens the rope, it's not punishment. It's pressure to awaken a deeper strength inside you. Let's look at some of the most common responses to this boot camp. 1. The escape response. I just want to leave it all. Go live in the woods. Drop out. You romanticize disappearance because reality feels unbearable. But avoidance isn't transcendence. It's postponement. 2. The blame response. It's the system. It's my family. It's spiritual warfare. Yes, there are forces at play. Yes, some cards were stacked. But Bootcamp isn't about pointing fingers. It's about taking radical responsibility for your energy. 3. The shame spiral. I must be doing something wrong. Maybe I'm not chosen after all. This one cuts deep because it convinces you to quit just before the shift. Remember, the deepest darkness always comes before expansion. But here's the truth. Every time you say no to bitterness, no to resentment, no to collapse, you pass a test. You choose mastery over victimhood, power over panic, faith over frustration. And those choices, they matter more than you think. Because this isn't just about your personal development. It's about preparing you for a mission bigger than you realize. You're not just being taught how to survive lack. You're being trained to lead others through it, to teach from experience, to radiate authenticity in a world full of pretense. And that's why this boot camp is so intense. You've been chosen not to escape the system, but to transcend it. To walk through the fire, gather the codes, and show others what's possible when soul leads over scarcity. Think about it this way. Every missed opportunity, it's a drill in trust. Every rejection, a mirror for inner healing. Every financial drought, a chance to rewrite the story of provision, not from the outside, but from within. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's exhausting. Yes, you've questioned if you're crazy for continuing. But hear this. Your struggle isn't proof you're weak. It's proof you haven't quit. And every day you stay present with the discomfort. You grow. You grow clarity. You grow resilience. You grow an unshakable center the world can't manipulate with fear. This is what the boot camp is building in you. A soul that can handle abundance, not just attract it. Because if you were given everything you prayed for right now, could you hold it? Would you trust yourself with it? Would you know how to use it with integrity? This training is making sure the answer is yes. But if money is energy, and your struggles are training, then that raises a deeper question. Who's controlling the battlefield? And why do some people seem to win without even trying, while you fight for every inch? Let's talk about that next. Part 3. Invisible Forces. The real fight is spiritual. You've probably felt it. That invisible weight. The way your chest tightens when you open your banking app. The way you feel frozen before taking a leap. The way guilt creeps in every time you even think about wanting more. It's not just psychological. It's not just emotional. It's spiritual. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Ephesians 6:12. This verse isn't metaphor. It's a map. Because what you're facing isn't just bad luck, poor timing, or laziness. It's interference. Energetic interference. You see, chosen ones operate like antennas. You pick up on frequencies others miss. That's your gift, but it's also your vulnerability. And money? Money is one of the most heavily weaponized energies on this planet. Not because it's evil, but because of the fear it carries. Most people don't realize this. They think money is neutral. but the emotional energy attached to money. Scarcity, shame, envy, control. That's where the distortion lives. And for someone as spiritually sensitive as you, that distortion is overwhelming. Let's break this down. You walk into a room. Someone just had an argument. You feel it instantly, even if no one says a word. That's your energetic field doing what it does, detecting resonance. Now apply that same sensitivity to money. Every time you think about bills, your body contracts. Every time you look at someone wealthier, you feel judgment or shame. Every time you try to invest in yourself, you hesitate, even though something deep inside says, go. That's not random. That's energetic interference. Because energy sticks to energy. And fear is magnetic. There are forces, subtle but real, that feed off this emotional charge. They amplify your doubts. They distort your clarity. They whisper thoughts like, you'll never have enough. You're irresponsible for wanting more. You should be grateful and stay small. These aren't just thoughts, they're frequencies. And unless you recognize them as external, you internalize them as truth. Let's make it real with a story. Meet Eliana, highly intuitive, deeply empathic. She could sense shifts in people before they even spoke. She had dreams that came true. She always knew when someone wasn't being authentic. And yet, when it came to money, she was stuck. Every time an opportunity came to invest in her vision, she froze. Every time a business partner suggested scaling, she pulled back. Every time she considered raising her prices, she felt sick. Why? Because her intuitive gift was being hijacked by a frequency of fear. Somewhere deep inside, she'd absorbed a belief. If I make more money, I'll become like them, cold, greedy, disconnected. So instead of trusting her guidance, she second-guessed it. Instead of building her dream, she played small. And the saddest part, she thought she was protecting her integrity, but in reality, she was being manipulated by a distortion that used her values against her. Sound familiar? If you're spiritually sensitive, you're not just fighting poverty. You're fighting programming, not just from society, but from realms you can't see. This is what makes your journey harder and holier. Because the moment you try to reclaim your power, you attract attention. The old systems, energetic and structural, don't want you free. They don't want you sovereign. Because a spiritually awakened being who is also materially resourced, that's unstoppable. So if it's felt like you've had to claw your way toward even the smallest breakthrough, you're not imagining things. You're not lazy. You're not behind. You're under spiritual pressure because you're close to your next level. And the only way through is discernment. You must learn to separate what's yours from what's been implanted. Every thought of lack, ask, is this mine or something I absorbed? Every fear of money, ask, is this caution or conditioning? Every hesitation to act, ask, is this wisdom or interference? Because the enemy isn't cash, it's confusion. Confusion between truth and fear, between soul whispers and energetic sabotage. And until you become aware of the spiritual nature of this fight, you'll keep trying to budget better, when what you actually need is to clear your energetic field. So if you're fighting an invisible battle, what's your weapon? What's your hidden advantage that most people never even realize they have? That's exactly what we'll reveal next. Part 4, Empathy and Intuition, Your Real Currency. You've probably been told that you're too soft for business, too emotional, too sensitive, that you feel too much, and that it's a liability in the real world. But here's the truth they never told you. Empathy is your superpower, And intuition is your greatest currency. You see, we've been taught to believe that making money requires hard logic, detachment, and aggression. But that belief was planted by a world built on control, not connection. And if you're a chosen one, you were never meant to thrive in systems built on domination. You're not here to overpower, you're here to understand. Your empathy is not a weakness, it's an antenna for truth. It allows you to feel what others miss, to sense needs before they're spoken, to understand people's pain points before they articulate them. And in a world that's starving for authenticity, that kind of perception is priceless. Let's make this real. You walk into a meeting, everyone's talking numbers, strategy, competition, but you feel the tension underneath. You feel the doubt behind the smiles, the fear behind the bravado. And because you feel it, you respond differently. You speak to the unspoken. You say what no one else has dared to voice. And suddenly, everything shifts. That's your power. It's not always loud, but it's always felt. Now let's talk about intuition. Intuition isn't magic. It's pattern recognition at the quantum level. You pick up on energies, rhythms, and subtle cues faster than the conscious mind can process. But here's the problem. You've probably been conditioned to doubt it. Society worships logic, even when it's failing. Meanwhile, intuition has guided some of the most successful people on the planet. Think of Steve Jobs. He didn't invent the smartphone. He intuited what people really wanted. Not just a phone, but an extension of identity, a seamless design, a device that felt like magic. Where did that vision come from? From logic? From silence, from Zen meditation, from trust in his inner compass. This is the same compass you have. You just haven't learned how to trust it yet. So how do you turn empathy and intuition, the very things that made money feel hard, into your greatest financial assets? Let's break it down. 1. Empathy equals emotional intelligence equals leadership. The world doesn't need more cold managers, it needs emotional leaders. If you can feel your team's burnout before they admit it, you'll retain loyalty others can't buy. If you can hear the subtle fears in your client's voice, you can offer what they actually need, not just what they ask for. Your ability to feel deeply gives you emotional leverage, the kind that builds trust, loyalty, and long-term wealth. Second, intuition equals insight equals innovation. Data can tell you what happened, but intuition tells you what's coming. Your gut nudges you toward ideas before they're trending. You feel which partnerships are aligned before the paperwork's signed. You sense when to pivot before the market crashes. While others are calculating probabilities, you're already moving. Because intuition, when trained, is faster than logic. 3. Empathy plus intuition equals soul-aligned business. The old business model is extractive. Take as much as you can for as little as possible. But your gifts were never built for that. They were built for resonance, creating offers, content, services, and spaces that actually serve. And when you build from that place, money becomes inevitable. Because people don't buy products, they buy energy. They buy the feeling behind the brand, the integrity, the vibration. That's what your gifts bring. Now, let's be honest. These gifts can make life hard at first. You feel too much, you see too much, you care too much. And in a world numb to truth, that level of awareness can feel like a curse. But it's not. It's a divine technology. One that allows you to feel the hidden language of the universe. You don't just see numbers. You see patterns. You don't just hear words, you hear frequency. And when you finally start honoring these traits instead of hiding them, everything shifts. Because your gifts don't just make you different, they make you dangerous to the system. And that's why the tests get harder. Because what you carry can't be bought, taught, or cloned. It must be earned, integrated, and embodied. So if the system feels like it's pressing harder, it's because your frequency is rising. And what comes next will reveal the real reason your path has been so intense. Let's go deeper. Part 5. Breaking Generational Poverty Codes. Some people are born into money, others are born into struggle. But you? You were born into a mission, and that mission is to break the pattern. You've probably heard the term generational poverty. But this goes deeper than bad luck or poor choices. It's not just financial, it's energetic. It lives in the silence at the dinner table, in the tension every time bills arrive, in the belief that people like us don't get rich. And science is finally catching up. In the field of epigenetics, researchers have proven that trauma, especially around survival and money, can alter our DNA expression. In other words, the fears your grandparents had about money are still vibrating in your nervous system today. That fear of asking for more, that guilt when you receive, that inner ceiling you keep hitting. It's not just you, it's your lineage echoing through you. But here's the divine twist. What was inherited can be rewritten. You are not here to repeat the cycle. You are here to alchemize it. Let's make this real. Imagine a woman named Ayla. Her family survived generations of scarcity, war, migration, debt. Every dollar was clung to. Every dream postponed. Joy was considered irresponsible. Wealth, unreachable. Ayla grew up absorbing these patterns. Even when she had enough, she felt poor. She apologized when charging for her work. She felt uncomfortable receiving gifts. She sabotaged opportunities without knowing why. Until one day, something shifted. Her grandmother passed. And while sorting through her things, Ayla found an old handkerchief wrapped around a few crumpled bills, hidden in a tin box. On it, a note, "For when it gets bad again." That line hit her like lightning, "For when it gets bad again." That was the spell. The energetic agreement passed down for generations. Prepare for collapse, expect suffering, fear joy. But Ayla made a decision. She took those bills and didn't save them. She didn't spend them on herself either. Instead, she used them to buy groceries and delivered them anonymously to a struggling single mother. She transmuted hoarding into generosity, fear into circulation, scarcity into trust. That single act broke the spell, not because it was big, but because it was new. That's the secret. Breaking a generational code doesn't require drama. It requires a new choice. Here's how it works. 1. Presence interrupts pattern. Most scarcity reactions are unconscious. We spend without awareness. We panic without thinking. We self-sabotage and call it playing safe. But presence is the pause that breaks the loop. Next time you feel triggered around money, pause. Ask, whose voice is this? Whose fear am I carrying? That moment of clarity is your first rebellion. 2. New choices equals new frequencies. Your past has momentum, but your present has power. Every time you choose to believe you are safe, to give without panic, to receive without guilt, to invest with trust, you rewrite the energetic code in your field. You stop playing the game of not enough, and you start vibrating in alignment with more than enough. 3. Change the image. Change the outcome. If you still picture money as stress, tension, or failure, how can your nervous system allow more in? You need a new mental image. Visualize money as a river, flowing through you, not stuck in you. Picture yourself as a guardian, not a hoarder. See every dollar as a frequency that responds to your clarity, not your desperation. This isn't just visualization, it's rewiring. The subconscious speaks in symbols. Change the image and you change the system. Here's the most powerful truth. You are not just healing yourself, you're healing your bloodline. Every act of courage, every generous move, every dollar earned in alignment ripples backward and forward. Your children, born or unborn, will feel it, and so will your ancestors. This is why your journey is hard, because you weren't just born to get rich. You were born to break chains. So the next time you feel shame for struggling, remember, you're not failing. You're carrying the weight of generations. And still moving forward, that's sacred. That's not just survival, it's legacy work. And now that you've started rewriting the past, it's time to learn how to create the future. Part 6. Co-creating with the universe. Manifestation as technology. You've probably heard this before. Your thoughts create your reality. But if that's true, why do so many people who think positively still struggle financially? The answer is simple. Most people treat manifestation like magic. They make a wish and hope it works. But manifestation isn't magic. It's spiritual technology. And just like any technology, it only works if you understand how to operate it. Let's break it down. The universe doesn't respond to your desires. It responds to your frequency. You're not attracting what you want. You're attracting what you are. That's what the law of assumption teaches. If you believe, deep down, that you are already wealthy, already worthy, already successful, then the universe must reflect that belief back to you. It's not opinion, it's law. But here's what most people miss. Your conscious thoughts are not the ones calling the shots. Your subconscious is. Your subconscious is like a movie director behind the scenes. It takes in all your beliefs, memories, fears, and assumptions, and quietly creates the story you experience in the physical world. It doesn't care if what you believe is true or false. It only cares about repetition and emotional charge. So the question becomes, how do you change the story? Let's simplify it into 3 steps. This is how chosen ones manifest. This is how you rewrite the program. Step 1. Clarify the signal. The universe needs a clear request. If you say, "I want more money," that's vague. That's like walking into a restaurant and saying, "Feed me." What kind of income do you want? How does it feel to earn it? What does your life look like when that money is here? You don't need to chase a number. You need to build the emotional frequency. Instead of saying, "I want to be rich," try this. "I earn $10,000 per month doing soul-aligned work. I feel light, generous, and supported." Make the picture real. That's how you send a strong signal. Step 2. Match the frequency. Once you've sent the request, you must become the version of yourself that already has what you asked for. This is where most people get stuck. They keep visualizing success while vibrating in fear and doubt. That creates mixed signals. Ask yourself, how would I act if I already had this? Would you still panic when bills arrive? Would you still say no to opportunities because of fear? The key is to feel now what you think you'll feel then. Confidence, gratitude, ease, not someday, today. If you can create those emotions now, your reality has no choice but to follow. Step 3. Move in alignment. Manifestation isn't sitting still. Once you're aligned, you'll start getting ideas, nudges, messages. Follow them. Call that person. Start that project. Say no to what drains you. Say yes to what stretches you. These actions are the proof of faith. They signal to the universe, I believe. I'm ready. Without action, your energy has no outlet. You stay in your head, waiting for miracles. But miracles are triggered by movement. Let's ground this with a visual. Your subconscious is a 3D printer. Whatever thoughts and feelings you feed it regularly, it prints out in your life. If your daily dialogue is, I'm broke, I can't make this work, the printer doesn't argue, it just delivers that outcome. But if you start repeating, I'm building wealth, I always find a way, your inner system begins rewriting the script. And if you're a chosen one, you have an advantage. You're already tuned to energy. You already feel the shift before it's physical. You sense what's real before it's logical. That's not a burden. That's a gift. That's your superpower. When used correctly, it becomes your interface with the quantum field. You're not just sending intentions, you're coding reality. So don't think of manifestation as dreaming. Think of it as design, a conscious act of emotional architecture. You are not just a receiver, you are a transmitter. Here's your key insight. Manifestation is not wishful thinking. It's pattern recognition. It's nervous system reconditioning. It's soul-level alignment with what is already yours. Every thought is a command. Every emotion is a code. Every aligned action is a green light. And when you combine all three, thought, feeling, action, you collapse time, you turn someday into now. So stop asking, how long will it take? Start asking, how deeply can I embody the version of me who already has it? You don't wait for abundance. You become it. And once you do, the next question is simple. How do you turn this alignment into actual income, freedom, and a life on your terms? Let's find out in the next part. Part 7. Money as a mission, not a measure. Let's make something clear right now. Money is not evil, it's not dirty, and it's definitely not the opposite of spirituality. That idea, it was planted in your mind to keep you small, to make you feel like having nothing means you're good. And that desiring abundance somehow makes you selfish. But here's the truth. Money is not a measure of your worth. It's a tool, a form of energy that reveals your inner alignment and amplifies what's already inside you. If you're kind, money lets you build shelters. If you're generous, money helps you lift others. If you're creative, money lets you express on a bigger stage. It doesn't change you. It expands you. Wealth was never a prize for the pure. It's a mirror for the aligned. Instead, ask Dash. Am I clear enough to use wealth for a purpose bigger than me? Because that's the real shift. Money isn't here to validate you. It's here to serve your mission. And chosen ones, you weren't born to chase money. You were born to channel it. Think of the great spiritual leaders and teachers who understood this. Deepak Chopra built a global empire by merging ancient Vedic wisdom with modern wellness. He didn't shy away from abundance. He let it amplify his purpose. Florence Scovel Shinn, a metaphysical teacher in the 1920s, taught that words and beliefs create reality. She didn't just preach, she manifested. And she helped thousands use spiritual laws to unlock real-world success. These people weren't selling out, they were showing up. They understood this one principle. True prosperity is created at the intersection of values, gifts, and service. So let's unpack that, because this is the formula for financial and spiritual alignment. 1. Start with your values. What do you stand for? Freedom, truth, healing, creation. Money is just a magnifier. If you don't know your core values, wealth will feel empty, or worse, toxic. But when you anchor into your values, you attract opportunities that align with your soul, not just your ego. 2. Build your skills. Spirituality without skill won't change the world. You need both intuition and execution, both empathy and excellence. If you're a healer, learn marketing. If you're a teacher, develop leadership. If you're a creator, master structure and systems. Why? Because your mission deserves to be heard, scaled, and sustained. Don't just be gifted, be ready. 3. Understand the market. Here's what most spiritual people avoid: the idea of selling. But here's the truth. Selling is simply serving with clarity. You're offering transformation. You're exchanging energy. You're showing others a path they can choose, if it resonates. And when you find the intersection between what people need, what you love, and what you're brilliant at, you've found your calling. And money? It becomes the fuel for that calling. Not the goal, not the identity, just the tool. So here's the shift. Stop thinking like a seeker. Start thinking like a servant leader. You're not here to escape the world. You're here to elevate it. And that's why you've been through the tests. That's why the struggle was so long. Because you're not just meant to be wealthy. You're meant to be wise with wealth. You're not here to have money. You're here to steward it, to build something that lives beyond your name. Call it a legacy. Call it impact. Call it what you want. But understand this. Your financial success is part of your spiritual mission. And when you let go of guilt, shame, and confusion around wealth, you make space for a completely new relationship with money. One built on truth, one built on alignment, one built on purpose. Here's the 7th key insight. Money doesn't hold morality, only mirrors it. But in your hands, it becomes sacred. It becomes medicine. It becomes momentum. It becomes a mirror of your clarity and commitment. So stop waiting to be ready. You already are. Not perfect, but fully prepared. The market is not looking for perfection. It's looking for presence, for purpose, for leaders who walk the talk. And you've been trained through hardship, heartbreak, and inner work to become that kind of leader. So let money serve your mission. Don't shrink from it. Don't idolize it. Just use it. Because when you align your values, your gifts, and the needs of others, money will chase you. And more importantly, it will follow your lead. Now that you've redefined wealth as purpose, there's one final thing you must remember. You were never poor. You were being prepared. Let's go deeper, because the final pieces of this puzzle are the most powerful of all. Part 8. Final revelation. You are not poor. You are prepped. Let's get honest. You were never just struggling with money. You were being shaped by it. The world told you that your bank account defines your worth, that success means more, faster, now. But your path? It's different. It's deeper. It's sacred. You weren't cursed. You were being prepared, not punished, refined by fire. Every unpaid bill, every job that slipped away, every late-night prayer whispered in silence. It wasn't proof that you were failing. It was proof that something inside you was waking up. You were being initiated, because chosen ones, they don't get to skip the fire. They walk through it. And if you've made it this far, It means you're already on the path, the journey most never even realize they're on. The 7 layers of wealth ascension. Let's break them down. 1. The cracking. It begins when the life you built no longer fits. You feel discomfort with how things are, but you can't explain why. Money starts to feel misaligned. This is the soul knocking, saying, there's more than this. 2. The stripping. Then comes the unraveling. Finances collapse. Relationships shift. The systems you trusted begin to fall apart. Not to break you, to strip the illusions. You start to realize you were chasing someone else's idea of abundance. 3. The void. This is the silence after the storm. Not much money, not much direction, but also no more pretending. This is when the real you begins to emerge, still tender, but awake. 4. The remapping. You start seeing wealth differently, less as accumulation, more as alignment. You begin questioning what you value. You stop asking, how can I make money? And start asking, how can I serve and stay true? 5. The reclaiming. Now you move with purpose. You rebuild your identity around truth, not fear. You claim your intuition, your energy, your calling. And slowly, money begins to respond to that shift. 6. The overflow. This isn't overnight success. This is slow, steady embodiment. Abundance shows up because now it's coming through you, not to you. You're no longer chasing, you're channeling. 7. The return. Now you give from overflow. You build legacies, not paychecks. You use money as a tool for healing, for lifting others, for impact. You're not just wealthy, you're whole. And here's what most people miss. This path isn't linear. You might cycle through these layers again and again, each time at a higher level of consciousness. But one truth holds steady through it all. You were never broke. You were becoming unbreakable. The struggle you faced, that was the curriculum. The resistance you felt, that was the training ground. While others were busy performing success, you were being prepared for something real, something rooted, something divine. You've been asked to hold the tension of 2 worlds, the spiritual and the material. And now, you're finally ready to bridge them. So take this in. You are not poor. You are powerful. You are not behind. You are becoming. You didn't fail the system. The system failed to recognize who you really are. And now that you remember, everything changes. No more hiding, no more shrinking, no more apologizing for wanting more, because now you understand it was never about money. It was about mastery, about becoming the version of you that can hold massive abundance with grace, clarity, and purpose. So the next time you doubt your path, just say this to yourself. I am not broken. I am becoming the vessel for something sacred. And if you feel that truth in your soul, comment below, I want to see. Not just money, but meaning, mission, and miracles.